Welcome to Mr. Holloway's Foundational Java Skills Series. In this video, we're going to talk about loops and how to analyze them. But before we get started, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And class is now in session. All right, so I have a few videos on loops. I've talked about while loops, for loops, as well as nested for loops. So if you don't know what a loop is, I would suggest that you go back and watch those videos. Now, if you do know what a for loop is, or a while loop, this video is for you. This is probably more for the student that is trying to understand a for loop and maybe may not have access to tools during a test, but I'm going to give you some things that you can use on pen and paper as well as maybe on your computer if you have access to that during a test. Okay, so here's a for loop. So it's just a basic for loop, and I'm going to run it, and we're going to look at what happens here. And so it's just it's going to run 5 times, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and as long as I is less than 5, this is going to run. All right, so it's a basic loop. Now, now I have talked about this in my previous videos, but this is Python Tutor, and Python Tutor is a really good tool for analyzing loops. Now, this is a very simple loop, but there are occasions where you may have a very complicated loop. You may have a for loop with or nested for loop, or several loops within a loop, or any other situation. And this is really good at just explaining how something works, and it just kind of gives you a visual of how the loop is working. All right, so I'm going to click on Visualize Execution, and it's the exact same. We got an error here. Let me see. What is this error? And this is actually an easy error. We are in Python Tutor, but I need to select Java. All right. So I've selected Java. I'm going to visualize the execution. And again, we're just running this code. Now, this, again, goes step by step. It calculates the number of steps in the code, and so it says that there's 17 steps in this code. So I'm going to go ahead and run. So we're at step 1, and notice that the red is the line that's going to be executed next, and the light blue is the line that just executed. So we're at step 2, and now within step 2 it has set the variable, so it has recognized that the variable is 0, right, kind of our initiator. And then we're going to go to step 3. So now it's here. And watch what happens. And so now it prints. Okay. And if we just follow the loop, right, we just go here. Now x is I is 1, and it's going to print I. And if I go really, really fast, you'll see how this loop works. Okay. And I'll go back in reverse, but just follow that red line, right? That just red line. So that kind of shows you how the loop executes. Now, once we get here, the condition is as long as I is less than 5, right, you just keep going. You do something, right? You do this. Now, we have an iterator, so it's going to execute this. It's going to make this 5. So now I is no longer less than 5. It is actually 5, and 5 is not less than 5. So we are at the end of the loop. All right. So this is Python Tutor. Really good. Now, let me show you one more. Now, if you don't have access to like a computer, you can do this on a piece of paper, maybe during a test if you're a student or something. So this basically does the same thing. So I have a chart here, and this is the iteration column. This tracks the value of I. This tracks the condition. This is the code that does something, and then this would be the output. Now, these are probably not needed, but I just went the extra step in showing kind of everything. Now, let's go over this. So when we begin, I is equal to 0. So we can see here I is equal to 0. And the condition is as long as I is less than 5, do this, right? And then the output would be actually the for loop plus the I, which is going to be 0. All right. So in the first iteration, I is 0, so 0 is less than 5. Okay, we're going to keep going. Here, the second iteration, or So actually the second iteration, this would be the second iteration, we would have, so this would be, I would be 1. 1 is less than 5, keep going, right? Now we have 2, so 2 is less than 5, keep going. Okay, so you can see here where you could just basically kind of track the value of the variable on a sheet of paper. All right, so we can keep going here, and let me see. I think this is. I need to change this. So actually, there's not going to be no output here, right? So that should be 0. All right. So here, once we get to 5, this. Actually, I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and make this black. Okay. So this is the final part of the loop, and the value of I is 5. So 5 is not less than 5. 5 is equal to 5. So in this case, this is where it's going to stop executing here, right? So we'll just put something, make this red. So this is where it will stop executing, and we're going to get this output 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, because this is actually true, right? So this is what is true. So this is just a general tool that you can use to kind of analyze your loops to make sure that you understand them. And if maybe you have a test and you don't have Python Tutor available, you can do a simple chart and track the values of each iteration. All right, so that concludes this video with loop analysis. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Class is now dismissed.